As they bid to notch up another title in Leinster, Dublin give a starting place to wing-back James McCarthy. It's his 5th year wearing the number 5 on Leinster final day. John Small is the one who makes way on a day when goalkeeper Stephen Cluxton is hoping to win his 11th provincial honour. Rank outsiders Westmeath make 2 changes in personnel from the side that knocked out neighbours Meath just 2 weeks ago. Frank Boyle and David Lynch come in to replace Dara Daly and John Connell. What noise! What colour! Superb setting. Dublin bidding for their second 5 in a row in Leinster in 11 years. Back to Connolly. 3rd time he's been involved in this particular move. It reaches Philly McMahon. Chances his luck. Well done, Philly McMahon. Really good kick. Here's Flynn. 2 players there available to take it from him. One of them is Macaulay. James McCarthy now pressing forward. Very awkward angle, has a good look at it, looked very composed. Very, very skillful play by McCarthy. That's a difficult one for Paddy Holloway to try and hold on to. Instead it is McCarthy again, a goal scorer against Wexford, of course, in the 2009 Leinster final. Here comes Macaulay, and he fists it over the bar. Michael Dara Macaulay.
He's really good at this. He's got an explosive little burst through. When he sees the gap, he goes for it. And with his height and his ranginess, he can get in. And a lovely fisted pass. There it is. Sees the little gap, goes through and does the wise option over the bar.
Paul Flynn. Onto it comes McCarthy, who scored already. Cooper. Connolly now showing us the range of skills. Right foot, left foot, this time with the left. First of the day for Diarmuid Connolly. McManaman trying to dart his way through 2 defenders. Good hands by Kieran Kilkenny. Did really well, Kilkenny. Oh, over the bar. Might have been in the back of the net. Really good play by Kieran Kilkenny. Took it on himself. Showed a bit of daring there, a bit of dash.
Yeah, and I think it's fair to say he had goal on his mind, Ger.
Heslin has had to come deep to get more into it. Leaving one man up there, but it's a dangerous one. Kieran Martin. Cian O'Sullivan trying to block his path to goal. Still manages to get the shot in and puts it over the bar. First point to be scored from general play. It's taken nearly 32 minutes. Don't see the bookmakers changing their odds, mind you, Kevin.
No, I'd say there's a sense that Dublin are going to overpower them, but not just yet.
John Gilligan. Inside to Paul Sherry. Holds it well. Looks around. Back here again. Egan has kicked one wide a few minutes ago. Has another go. Big, huge, massive cheer. Throw of the shoulders there by Jack McCaffrey. Carried in dangerously. Fenton once again back out to Connolly. In the end, he says enough of this dithering, and he puts his boot through it, cuts across it splendidly, and kicks over his 2nd point of this Leinster final.
Dublin are pushing well up on the kick out. A lot of pressure, very high line.
And there, that pressure works out with Philly McMahon easily getting it to Paul Flynn. Good movement of players. Flynn back in from Kilkenny. They're trying to deny him a goal opportunity, but it finally is put in the back of the net. Bernard Brogan.
Well, the only question for me is it a square ball? It looks an excellent finish.
Was he in there?
He stayed outside. That took great discipline.
Westmeath goalkeeper Darren Quinn kicking it out right. It's quite short this time. McCaffrey contesting with Frank Boyle. And what a shot by McCaffrey. Brilliant second goal, coming within 60 seconds of that last goal by Bernard Brogan. Blistering shot past Darren Quinn, beaten for the 2nd time in the space of 60 seconds, and all of a sudden it becomes 2-9 to 4 points. Paul Greville gave it away, and it comes out to the unmarked Paul Flynn. All very well to mark space, but there's nobody marking Diarmuid Connolly. 3 points for Connolly, 2 of them coming in the 2nd half. Coming forward this time with Frank Boyle. Gilligan. Boyle. Love to score, might do so. He's got a point. Frank Boyle from Killucan comes forward here and gets just his third ever championship point in today's Leinster final. Bernard Brogan, awkward angle, so he turns it back wisely, and his brother Alan puts his boot through it. And listen to the cheer. Brilliantly done by Alan Brogan. And Dublin are once again Leinster football champions, champions of 2015, and they beat Westmeath here comprehensively. It's Dublin 2-13, Westmeath 6 points. Sean O'Horoyne, Cahirla Corla Lion presenting to the Laney Cup to Stephen Cluxton. Dublin win in Leinster for the 54th time.
All credit to Westmeath. They had their homework done on us, and they tried to make it very difficult for us, and they did that. 8-4 half time. Speaks volumes for the work that they did. But I said our boys looked in control, took some good scores, 1-2-11 from play. Missed a bit, and that gives us some areas to improve on in the training ground. But overall, pleased with the result.
That's why they're favourites for the All-Ireland. They are a very special team, and a lot of very, very special footballers there, and the backup to have to bring on. But look, we have a young team. We feel over the next few years we'll be able to get up to that standard and compete with them. And it's still great to be up here on Leinster final day, being out there on that pitch and giving it a crack.
Yeah, a remarkable 5 in a row for the second time in 11 years for Dublin. Martin McHugh, what did you make of the match?
Yeah, well, I think really Dublin didn't get out of first gear. When you look at it, they did enough. They'll be happy enough with their performance. I think that's 39 out of 40 matches they've won in the Leinster Championship. And under Jim Gavin, they've averaged 15 points victory in every match. Now, 6 points was the lowest they've ever conceded, that they've given away under Gavin. So they'll be happy with all. Jim and Gavin will be happy with all that there. I suppose they haven't been tested yet from their point of view. They used 6 subs and still didn't take on Cormac Costello. That's the strength and depth they have. But listen, that's why they're playing challenge games, I feel, against the likes of Armagh, Cavan, these teams to get used to it. But maybe looking at an A against B game, maybe a house game, Parnell Park might be better for them. But very impressive. I have to say, they've been caught this last couple of years, but I have to say that they're one of the best football teams I've seen playing Gaelic football. And I think it's just maybe that wee bit of mental weaknesses in them at times, and they take their eye off the ball at times, and that's the reason for it. Can that change this year? We don't know yet.
I'm surprised. You were never a great fan of the Dubs, I thought, but that's high praise. Tomas, you said, with respect to Westmeath, there was still a gulf in class, you felt.
Yeah, Des, I suppose, look, Westmeath kind of set up defensively today as well as they could. They got bodies back, but it was always going to be difficult for them to get scores on the board, and I think they needed to be taking all the chances they were getting, I mean, too often, I think 6 times today in the first half, there were balls landed into the goalie's hands, and against Dublin, the one thing I did notice was they didn't have the link inside at full forward. They didn't have a guy, whereas Dublin could hold their inside line together. The Westmeath lads were forced. You see there was nobody in front of the goal, and they were forced to take these pot shots very often into the goalie's hand. It wasn't really. They needed to be taking all those chances to have any clear-cut chance of beating Dublin.
They were able to get the ball up to about 40 yards.
They were, but they didn't have that option inside in the full forward line, and they either ran it, which Dublin, in fairness, defended well, and they're defending well all year, or else they were taking shots and shots, the wrong pot shots. Whereas if you compare Dublin have this link play perfectly. They work the ball up the field, they're patient, they have guys running off you, left, centre. They have too many options, and they're really, really clinical most of the time. I mean, Dublin, I suppose, kicked a lot of wise today, but they always are dangerous in this position, and they're a team that are playing really well. They're playing with confidence. Now the question mark will remain what kind of opposition is in Leinster at the moment, and for Dublin, I think they have a National League who they play the top teams, and then they have a Leinster Championship, and it doesn't do them any favours coming into the latter end of the Championship, but they're playing really, really well.
OK, but you highlighted the point there that going forward Westmeath weren't able to finish, but they had that defensive plan, and Desi, they did that quite well, and Dublin were uncomfortable with it.
Yeah, in fairness, you seen during the league the performance Derry put in, it upset them for large periods of the game, but you see here Westmeath, for most of the day, they had a lot of bodies back. In this situation, the 12 back there, but but Dublin forced the pass and was intercepted. Again here, lots of bodies back. Kieran Kilkenny gets, or I think it was Paul Flynn there, gets the ball a really poor wide. And Dublin had 16 wides today. And for any team going playing Dublin, you would expect them to set up in a similar format. Here's Kieran Kilkenny, very sloppy pass, lots of bodies back again. But Dublin, for a lot of the game, were careless, and they should have expected this. Again, you see a lot of teams struggle to get. You see here, it was 12 men back, but a lot of teams struggle to break down a defensive system like this. But there's one man that'll always look for a bit of space, and that's Jeremy Connolly. And you see him roaring for the ball on the far side of the pitch, but he needed that ball a lot earlier and a lot faster. And you can see the ball goes over really slow, very laborious. And when Jeremy gets it, he struggles to get his shot away. But the wrong man shooting here, Philly McMahon, into the goalie's hands. And Dublin, while they're very impressive going forward at times, there was stages during the game where Westmeath made it very uncomfortable for them. And like you would say, if you were playing Dublin tomorrow, you say, yeah, set up defensive, see what they're made of. And if you have a good attack, like the likes of Donegal and Michael Murphy, a target man up there, get the ball up to him. It's going to catch them on the counter-attack, because I think at times today Westmeath struggled to get the transition wasn't happening well enough.
Sorry, Mike, but just to sum up Westmeath, I mean, it's important.
Yeah, look, today, do you learn the difference between the really class teams? There was a minute there where 2 goals went in very, very fast, just after half-time. Darren Quinn was struggling to get the kick-outs away. There was a bit of pressure came on, and the game was nearly killed within a minute with them 2 goals. But they did an awful lot of good work. At half-time, lots of boys were texting me, it's 8-4, we're still in, we have a chance. Like, we've done what we came to do, disrupt them, make it difficult. And they did struggle to deal with that a lot of times. But it's been a very good season. There's a lot of young lads. They'll learn an awful lot from this experience, and a lot of quality footballers in Westmeath.
Good, OK. You noticed one thing, interestingly, Tomas, when we're talking about Dublin, you know, having a better structure in defence, at one point you pointed something out to me there that said maybe they're not as...
Yeah, Des, I suppose, look, if you look at this clip and you see the full back lines, Dubs, the minute the ball goes in, and it goes in fairly fast, there's a lot of space in there. You know, Dennis Glennon gets a shot off here, but there is a lot of space, you know, and I feel the one area where you need to get at Dublin is at the middle of the field, and if you can get that ball in fast, quickly, directly, you have a good chance of having one-on-one instead of the cavalry getting back and helping out.
OK, well...
Flynn Rock and McMenamin didn't score from play today in the match. The thing we look at, what Desi said, the goals. They're able to get goals at important stages, whereas early on in the game. Last year against Donegal, they didn't get the goals, they missed them. And that makes the difference for them.
OK, well, given that, who they've won their 10th out of 11, who are our man of the match contenders, Tomas?
Yeah, Des, we went 3 guys who are really, really playing